Hello and welcome to a brand new episode of Health 360. On the show this week, why are heat waves becoming so common? Should you be now jumping into the electrolyte drinks bandwagon as well? I'm Sneha Mordani. This is Health 360. If stepping outside lately feels like walking straight into an oven, you're not alone. A strong heat wave has settled in, pushing temperatures far above normal and making everyday life a real challenge. Now, from crowded streets to quiet neighborhoods, people are feeling the impact, struggling to stay cool, dealing with power cuts and worrying about health risks. Officials are issuing warnings, doctors are advising precautions, and the heat shows little sign of easing anytime soon. It's not just another hot day, viewers. It's a serious weather event that's hard to ignore. Here's what we found on the ground.
पेट के लिए तो करना पड़ेगा, गर्मी तो बहुत पड़ रही। बहुत ज़्यादा गर्मी है, रहा नहीं जाता रोड पे। क्या करें, करनी पड़ेगी, मजबूरी है। कमाने के लिए सब कुछ करना पड़ता है, जैसे धूप हो चाहे गर्मी हो चाहे जैसे हो।
The weather is unbelievably terrible, hovering around the 40-degree mark. Well, the heat wave days are clearly here and people are doing what they can to beat the heat. Well, the situation in North India and many other parts of Central India is so bad that the National Human Rights Commission has had to step in now and ask 21 states and union territories to do what they can to protect people who are the most vulnerable. Those people who are working outside, children, the elderly, those who are susceptible to heat exhaustion. They have been asked, the states have been asked, the governments have been asked to devise policies and measures to protect the people in this heat. अब तो तपती भी गर्मी है, आपको बाहर काम करना है, कैसे करते हो इसका सीक्रेट बता दो।
मैम करना तो पड़ेगा, पेट के लिए तो करना पड़ेगा, गर्मी तो बहुत पड़ रही, पसीना भी आधा देख लो कितना फड़े हुए अंदर से, बहुत ज़्यादा गर्मी पड़ रही, करना पड़ेगा पेट के लिए।
पूरे दिन करना पड़ता है?
नहीं, 8 घंटे।
8
घंटे 12 बजे 11 बजे छुट्टी होनी चाहिए वैसे तो।
12-11 बजे की पहले छुट्टी हो जाए।
हाँ।
जल्दी आ जाओ, लेकिन दोपहर को काम ना कर पाए।
हाँ।
A person who is doing field work should always have enough water with him. There should be enough hydration. Enough water should be drunk from time to time by such people. Laborers should try to have as much cool space as possible. Probably wearing a hat, wearing a cap, or keeping them cool is a key to the whole situation. Don't go out in the peak summer. Don't go out between 12 and 4.
The earliest indicators are a sense of dizziness, fuzziness, headache, nauseousness, and extreme and worsening fatigue. The peak heat period 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. or 4 p.m. During these periods, all the workers who work outside should rest under shade and drink water, keep themselves well hydrated.
Not just workers outside, but even schools in Delhi NCR have deferred the school timings.
This heat wave has actually put us all on the heat this time. So a number of things are being done. The SOPs are quite in place. Like the timings have been reduced first of all for the students so that they can get back home sooner. All the teachers have been instructed to ask the students to drink water every 30 to 40 minutes, so that they stay properly hydrated. In the long run, I think we will have to have classrooms with larger windows, better ventilation, and less dependence on air conditioners, which actually generate more heat in the environment.
But parents say a uniform policy which is long-term in nature is the need of the hour, given that heat wave days are now common and not a one-off.
It's better to reconsider the summer vacation timings, dates, and it's better to have the full precautionary measures in the school also.
लेकिन क्लासरूम स्टडीज़ को बढ़ा देना चाहिए, आउटडोर एक्टिविटीज़ थोड़ी कम रखनी चाहिए, तो उससे इम्पैक्ट पड़ेगा।
आई थिंक अगर समर्स चल रहा है और ग्लोबल वार्मिंग इतना ज़्यादा है तो दे शुड अप्रोच फॉर द ऑनलाइन क्लासेस, क्योंकि बच्चों की पढ़ाई भी हैम्पर नहीं होनी चाहिए। ऑनलाइन क्लासेस के चलते वो सब कुछ कवर कर लेते हैं, सिलेबस वगैरह एंड ऑल।
Well, school timings in Noida, Delhi NCR have been deferred as of now. This is the step that schools have taken, many of them starting early, ending early. But parents are by and large saying that they need to do more in terms of have robust policies, especially for children as small as these, as young as these, given that they are vulnerable. Heat waves now demand a longer policy decision, a bigger policy decision is what parents are now saying, given that this is not a one-off phenomenon. It happens year after year. End of April, beginning of May, heat wave conditions already. So do more. In fact, consider increasing the summer vacations or in a way bringing them on earlier so that the peak summer months children get an opportunity to rest at home. So why are kids at risk? Children are even more vulnerable because their bodies heat up faster. They may not recognize thirst early, and school environments can become crowded and poorly ventilated during heat waves. A heat wave is a period of unusually high temperatures that last for several days or even weeks. Well, it happens when hot air gets trapped in an area due to high pressure in the atmosphere, preventing cooler air from moving in. Now, during a heat wave, temperatures rise well above the normal range for that region, often combined with high humidity, making it feel even hotter. These conditions affect normal life, daily life, causing discomfort, health problems, and putting stress on water and electricity. Heat waves are becoming more and more common and intense, making it important to understand them and devise policies around them. Well, does it feel like it is getting hotter and hotter and hotter? Are conversations around heat wave becoming more common than ever? Well, this is not just another hot day. It is a wave, a heat wave. The fact is that as of now, heat wave belt runs across the entire North India region, large parts of West India, parts of Central India, isolated pockets in the east, and the strongest heat wave is in Vidarbha, in Maharashtra and Rajasthan. Also Delhi, the national capital region, are under active heat stress. So, what really is a heat wave? Remember, it's not just another hot day. A heat wave is actually a stretch of unusually hot weather that lasts for several days, usually 3 or more. A heat wave happens when temperatures cross 40 degrees in plains, 37 in coastal areas, and 30 degrees in hills. Well, if the temperature crosses 47 degrees, it is categorized into a severe heat wave category. Environmentalists say this is man's own doing. Rapid urbanization and a typical city life, human activity is making the world hotter. Millions of air conditioners are being used for hours at a stretch. Millions of cars are being added to our roads and are adding to atmospheric temperatures. So what are the health risks associated with a heat wave? Dehydration, heat exhaustion, heat stroke that can be life-threatening, worsening of heart and lung conditions, daily life disruption, power demand strikes is what we've seen, which means electricity cuts, water shortages, reduce outdoor work productivity, environmental stress, drying of water bodies, increased risk of wildfires in surrounding regions, stress on plants and urban greenery. The big question, how does one stay safe during a heat wave?
If you think you're suffering from heat wave, it is very important that you stay hydrated. You avoid outdoors. And if you are a patient with heart diseases, kidney failure, or diseases like diabetes and hypertension, which involve a few medicines that can add to the dehydration, make sure that you're taking enough water. Not just water, but water with electrolytes is very important to prevent dehydration. Adding to that, there are several fruits that can be eaten which have a very high content of water, like watermelons, muskmelons. And it is also important to stay indoors, especially when it is not required to step out during the peak afternoon hours.
Electrolytes, minerals like sodium, potassium, and magnesium, are having a moment, showing up in everything from sports drinks to wellness trends. Well, they do help regulate hydration, nerve function, and muscle activity, making them essential for staying energized and balanced, especially in hot weather or during intense exercise. But more isn't always better. Why so? We explain in this report. Electrolyte drinks are healthy, or are they overhyped? Well, the fact is that they are everywhere, in gyms and advertisements, influencer routines. But the big question, do you actually need them every single day? What are electrolytes really? Everybody is talking about them, but just tell us, what exactly are they?
So electrolytes are the minerals, the nutrients which we get from the food. When those
Right.
minerals go inside our body and mix with the fluids, the liquids, they form ions. And those ions are chargeable. That means in the chargeable form, those ions are called electrolytes. So they are basically minerals like sodium, potassium, calcium, magnesium, phosphorus, chlorides. Sodium is responsible for taking care of your blood pressure. Potassium is responsible for your heartbeats. Magnesium is responsible for many chemical reactions. It acts as a cofactor. It generates ATP.
What do they really do? Well, it clearly replenishes minerals, lost ones, sodium, potassium, magnesium, which is mostly something that a body excretes through the sweat. Often they are needed for intense workouts, heavy sweating and dehydration, which is if you're unwell, you're vomiting, or if you're suffering from diarrhea. I think eating and drinking is the best combination. In that sense, not really needed for daily sipping, isn't it?
Okay, so it is very subjective. If you are at home, you're living a normal life, you're going for exercise for 1 hour, you have a normal healthy vitals. You don't really need to supplement on the supplements. Basically, sipping on the you need food. In contrast to that, if you are outside for a very long time, or you have any medical condition, or you are old, you are an athlete, you are a pregnant woman, your demands are high of the electrolytes, which your diet is not able to meet it.
There's also the problem of overuse because it can cause bloating and cramps, headaches, muscle weakness, high blood pressure, and also strain on your kidneys. Well, many packaged drinks have high sugar and extra calories as well. These so-called electrolyte drinks having high sugar and extra calories, isn't it?
Yeah. So if we plan our thali like a normal Indian plate wisely, we can get all the electrolytes from that plate. If I talk about sodium, that is our normal sodium chloride, our namak, olives, pistachios, right? Achar, papad. If I talk about potassium, pumpkin, papaya, mangoes, all the fruits, basically all the vegetables. If I talk about calcium, our dairy, right? Magnesium, nuts, seeds. So this all is available in our food. When we go out, it's important to hydrate yourself. When we are inside, it's important to eat well.
Often people ask, what really is the difference between ORS and flavored electrolyte drinks? ORS is the oral rehydration solution. These are clinically balanced and effective for dehydration when used correctly. Flavored electrolyte drinks instead are often high in sugar and really not ideal for everyday consumption. The bottom line really is that we should be using electrolyte drinks when needed, but not really as a daily habit. They aren't really bad, they're just very overused. Your body usually gets what it requires from food plus water. So don't really jump on to the electrolyte bandwagon, not just yet. New research is shedding light on a surprising connection between our internal body clock and brain health. Significantly, how disruptions in the circadian rhythm may be linked to Parkinson's disease, often associated with tremors and movement difficulties. Well, Parkinson's is increasingly being studied through different lenses now, one that looks at sleep patterns and hormone cycles. Here's more. Well, we often think of sleep as just reset, but your body clock is doing a lot more behind the scenes. Your circadian rhythm, your natural sleep-wake cycle helps regulate everything from your immunity and hormones to how your body processes energy. But what happens when that rhythm is off? Late nights, irregular sleep timings, constantly shifting routines. They don't just make you tired over time, they can start affecting your brain in deeper ways you can imagine. In fact, earlier research has already linked disrupted body clocks to conditions like heart disease, obesity, type 2 diabetes, and even dementia, including Alzheimer's disease.
Memory is consolidated and stored in long term, which basically means if the circadian rhythm is disturbed, it leads to altered secretion of hormones inside the body, abnormal nerve transmitters in the body, increased inflammation in the brain and the body, damage to tissues by free radicals, impaired synthesis of memory in the brain and impaired storage of the memory in the brain, impaired immune responses, giving rise to risk of multiple health disorders like diabetes, blood pressure, heart attacks, strokes, and even memory disorders like dementia.
Now, a new study published in Alzheimer's and Dementia is adding to that concern. Researchers have found that older adults with irregular sleep and activity patterns, what they called a fragmented circadian rhythm, actually showed signs of brain shrinkage. And this isn't just any part of the brain. These are areas linked to memory and emotions, the same regions affected in Alzheimer's.
So when you talk about disorders of circadian rhythm, it basically means that you are not sleeping in sync with your sleep cycle. So you can have increased risk of heart disease, increased risk of strokes, high blood pressure, poorly controlled diabetes, you can put on weight.
So what does this mean for you? Simply this: when your sleep cycle is constantly out of sync, your brain may not be getting the consistent recovery it so badly needs. Experts say the key word is simple: consistency. If you want a stronger, more stable body clock, start by waking up at the same time every day, even on weekends.
if we sleep and wake up at the same time every day, it reinforces the activity of the suprachiasmatic nucleus, which actually sets the rhythm of the transmitter, hormonal, and metabolic activity in the body and the brain, which basically leads to less secretion of cortisol, less sympathetic transmitters in the brain, increased parasympathetic tone, which leads to less inflammation.
Get morning sunlight. It helps you reset your internal clock and tells your body it's time to be alert. Stay physically active during the day. Movement reinforces a healthy sleep-wake cycle. Try to keep your meals and bedtime consistent. Your body thrives on routine and rhythm. Be mindful of naps. Long or late naps can throw your rhythm off. And finally, avoid caffeine and alcohol close to bedtime. Both can disrupt sleep quality without you even realizing it. But all of this I know is easier said than done.
Modern life is stressful. Modern life prevents from a lot of us from having good sleep hygiene. And that in turn, that's the reason why nowadays sleep disorders, insomnia is so common. And insomnia, poor sleep has been linked to many other medical disorders like hypertension, diabetes, high cholesterol, obesity, heart disease, stroke. So more and more data is coming out that people who live longer, people who live healthier, not just physically, but also mentally, people who are free from anxiety, stress, if you look at them, they usually have good sleep hygiene.
So how did researchers actually study this? Well, they looked at data from 344 older adults with an average age of 73, all of whom showed no signs of cognitive impairment at the start. These participants are part of the long-running Baltimore longitudinal study on aging. To track their daily rhythms, participants wore a wrist device for about a week. This helped researchers measure their 24-hour cycle of activity and rest, basically how consistent or disrupted their body clocks were. They also underwent MRI scans focusing on 3 key areas of the brain, regions that are typically affected in Alzheimer's disease. Comparing sleep-wake patterns with brain imaging, researchers were able to see a clear link between irregular rhythms and structural changes in the brain. Poor sleep, hence, should never be brushed under the carpet.
Today, sleep is clearly recognized as a risk factor for heart attacks and strokes. So, impaired or improper sleep is recognized as a major risk factor for multiple serious disorders that affect our body. Antidepressant medications or stimulant medications or drinks like energy drinks can also interfere with our circadian rhythm, giving rise to the multiple hormonal imbalances, metabolic changes, nerve transmitter dysfunction, and faulty repair mechanisms inside the body.
There are numerous medicines which can disrupt the sleep cycle. It's very important first for doctors to be aware of it. Secondly, it's very important for the doctors to tell the patients about it, that this medicine can cause insomnia. This medicine will cause you to have excessive sleepiness. You might be drowsy the next day.
Well, that brings us to the end of this edition of Health 360. You can catch these reports and much more going up on our website. It's indiatoday.in. You can download the app. All of India Today's social media platforms do carry these reports. A hashtag is Health 360, Health 360 Plus. Do not forget to like, subscribe and share, and also catch these reports on our YouTube platform, Instagram, Twitter or X, and of course Facebook. Until next time, take very good care of yourself. Thank you for watching. Bye for now.